If you're a singer and you want to make some income from your skills, then I have 15 income streams that you can use, and I'm going to focus on the income streams that don't require you to have a massive following. Let's go. The first income stream is voiceover work. So if you have a good speaking or singing voice, there's a lot of demand for people who can do singing for corporate jingles and advertising, telephone messages, corporate videos for a whole bunch of variety of projects. And as long as you've got a decent microphone and home recording setup so you can record your voice properly and send the audio file, you can go on to platforms like People Per Hour or Fiverr and things like that, and then either bid on the projects or just set up your little demo with the type of work you want to get and wait until someone contacts you. Income stream number 2 is teaching singing. Don't poo-poo it, because teaching singing can really be quite regular, stable income. So if you're going to go down the one-on-one teaching route, I really recommend getting your students to pay for at least 5 lessons up front. Don't worry about the cost. If they want to do it, they will come up with the cash. 5 lessons up front, and you call it like a term. And the reason is if they don't practice and they want to cancel on you at last minute, which happens a lot, by the way, then you're not out of pocket, and the onus is on the student to get their ass in gear and do the practice and show up to the lesson, and it makes them more respectful of your time. Obviously, teaching singing also includes online courses. I do that myself. I started off teaching one-on-one for years, and then I moved into online teaching. One-on-one is easier to start with than online teaching, because you've got to learn a lot about marketing your course and all the rest of that sort of stuff when you start getting into like the online teaching kind of sphere. But the good thing about it is you can teach a lot more people in one go. So you're teaching whoever buys the course. You do the work once and then it just continues to sell for you, which is great. It's kind of like a nice little, well, it's not really 100% passive, because you then still have to check in with your students to make sure they're okay, but it's a really great way of earning an extra bit of income as a singer. I'll leave the links to my course below, where I've got my vocal warm-ups course down below. My academy, my flagship course, my singing academy, is closed at the moment, but I'm also going to be launching a jazz course for singers very soon. I'll leave a link below as well if you want to sign up to that to be notified of when it opens. Number 3 is selling digital products that are related to singing. For example, I have my own vocal CD called Vital Scales, which is basically downloadable audio tracks that you can get instant access to that help you to master the 10 most commonly used scales and arpeggios in singing. I'll leave the link below. If you're skillful in teaching singing and breaking things down, there's no reason why you can't do the same thing. And the best thing about digital products is that you do the work once, and again, it just sells again and again and again. I've got my CD, it sits there, and then occasionally, because I've got it on Etsy at the moment, which is going to change, but at the moment it's just there, you'll get this little ping from Etsy, or like a cha-ching, it gives this cha-ching noise, and you're like looking at it, it's like, oh, someone just downloaded your CD, and I'm like, oh. It's only a small amount of money, because it's just a CD, but it all adds up. Number 4 is selling vocal loops and samples online. Now, if you liked the first suggestion I came up with, you will love this one. It's just a graduation on that. All you need to do is to create a verse, like 2 bars of verse, 2 bars of chorus, and maybe like a couple of fills of a vocal sample in a particular key. You package it up, shove it up online for sale, and then producers and songwriters that can't sing love those sorts of loops, because then they can mix them and they can work with them, and you've provided them with enough variety in your little package that they can create an entire song out of it if they want. So it's as easy as this. So 2 bars of verse, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's your little riff, and then chorus. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So you've got like and then and then a couple of like little fills on 2. 1, 2, 3. That's number 1, and then 1, I do, I don't think, so they're all in the same chord, they're all in the same key. Super easy to do, right? Like I just smash one out just then. I could smash a whole bunch out, like batch a whole bunch, package them together, ship them off. Could be a nice little income earner. Income stream number 5 is teaching public speaking. I know, right? But hear me out, because there's actually so many similarities between singing and public speaking in the terms of like projecting your voice and having the right sound. This guy up here, Per Bristow, he actually started off as an online vocal coach, and now he's segued, I've noticed, into public speaking, and now he's got like, known as the world's most followed voice and performance coach, you know, whatever, but like, whatever competitor, but I'm sure he's probably really good. God, I digress. Why do I do that to myself? The fact is that if you can teach singing and you can break it down, then you could also teach public speaking. And because usually you're pitching to like corporations, it's way more lucrative. Companies have money, you know what I'm saying? Number 6 is session singer for hire. This is a really fun one. So there's this epic site called Sound Better, and I will leave a link down to it below, where you can literally just go on there and shop for very skilled producers, singers, instrumentalists, whatever you need. I'm currently on there shopping for the producer for my next couple of singles. And you get to work with like people who've, you know, won Grammys and worked with celebrities, and they're just like really, like you think they're beyond your reach, but like on Sound Better they're not so good. Anyway, I digress. So there's no reason, if you have a good recording setup and you're a good singer, you have a great voice, especially if you've got like quite a quirky, unusual voice. I imagine you do really well on this platform. There's no reason why you can't apply to be on there as a session musician for hire. There's actually this one singer producer that I found on there from, I think a company's called Boom Fox Productions. Boom Fox or something. Anyway, her name's Chris Bradley, and I didn't realise, but she's actually like, I listened to some of her samples on Sound Better, loved her vibe and her style. I was like, that's the type of sound that I really want. That's who I want to produce my next couple of singles. She's actually got a YouTube channel, and believe it or not, she actually does like how-to production stuff. I think she's got a course as well. I'd probably do the course, but she does it in Pro Tools, and I'm all about Ableton, so I did Andrew Huang's course. He's got like a songwriting course in Ableton. Like if you're into that kind of thing and you really want to take your recording skills to the next level, which you probably should, because eventually at some point you're going to want to write and record your music anyway. I digress. So Chris, if you're watching this, I will be contacting you at some point for production. Please, thank you. Number 7 is doing backing vocals in someone else's band. Now, if you can harmonize on the fly, this is perfect for you, because someone else organizes all the gigs. You just rock up and like, you know, do some rehearsals and stuff. It could be heaps of fun. You don't have to be as on fire as like the lead singer, because you're in the background just doing your thing with the backing vocals, and you get paid. Number 8 is huge. This is selling merchandise at a gig. It literally doubles / triples your income. I am not joking. Like I mean, a lot of the gigs that I do, let's just say at the Ellington Jazz Club, they don't actually pay that well, especially when, you know, you've got a large band. So the idea is usually the venue takes a cut, you get the rest of the sales, and it's all about like, you know, even if you fill up the venue, you're not making a huge amount per person. And I like to make sure that my instrumentalists are well paid, so I end up not making very much money and giving it all to the guys. But merchandise, huge. So I get my mum, and I call her Merch Girl. Everyone loves her, right? And she's actually a really good saleswoman. I get her to go around with, I got like a little stripe reader, no, square reader, that's right. And it's, because you know, no one has cash these days, right? So you just load your products up, you get like a website where you can load your products up and put the price. And then, you know, my mum, it's attached to your mobile phone. Mum literally like picks the product and you just make it generic. So I've got like a whole bunch of prints and CDs. So it's like $10 for a print, $10 for a CD, let's just say, right? She clicks on print, and then people just tap and go, tap, tap, tap and go. and you get paid that way, and it literally doubles my income for these gigs. So I just get the merch income, and then I give all the rest of the performance income to the guys. So they're happy, I'm happy, I've made like a decent gig. And you can sell everything. I put like a little gig special price on my prints and stuff, and people like grab 2 or 3 of these things, you know, because they know that they're actually quite expensive if you buy them online. And so they're grabbing heaps of them, and then like you sell heaps of CDs. Like you wouldn't think that anyone buys CDs anymore, but like depending on your audience, and my audience is a little bit older, I think, and they still have CD players. They're grabbing the CDs. Anyway, merch will change your life. This list would not be complete if I didn't talk about gigs. Specifically, if you're starting out and you don't have a huge following, home shows. These are brilliant for, especially for beginner singers, because you don't have to come up with the audience. So the idea is, right, is that you approach someone, and I think in the States, like they've got all of this set up for you already. They've got this epic like home show whole thing where you can just tour doing home shows. So good. They don't have that yet here in Australia. We're a bit behind on the times, but anyway. So the host, whoever's hosting the concert in their home, will invite all their buddies, you know, and they'll be like, you know, they're coming, we're gonna have this artist come in and do a cool concert and all this stuff for us, you know, and they put some food on and they invite everyone, they give you the space to do your thing, and then usually you just get paid in tips. But because it's such an intimate kind of environment, people tend to give you quite a bit, and they really love it because you are so close to them, you get to talk to them, you get to make all these new friends. It's a really great night for everyone. And again, if you're a beginner singer, you don't need the audience because it's kind of like the home owner will organize the audience for you. But if you have merch, quite often they'll buy the merch too, you know, hello, double your income, right? So it's such a great way to start off with gigs if you don't have a huge following. On gigs, I would also say I highly recommend that you get into more than one band. So like do your thing, like if you're in a duo or you have your own band or whatever, but then see if you can like get into other people's bands. So, or like what I'm doing is, it's gonna be my band, but I'm gonna start like a Portishead type band. It'll be originals, but I love that kind of music and I just want to write something that's just not jazz, you know. And there's a lot of really kind of 90s grunge kind of venues here in Perth, like it's really popular, and I've never been able to perform at them because I'm just not the right style of music with jazz, right? But if I do this Portishead kind of stuff, it would probably appeal to those audiences. So you could literally do 2 gigs, massive gigs in one weekend, one at a jazz club, and then one at like one of these grungy dive bars. And they wouldn't clash in the same city. And it means like more work for you, more fun music that you get to sing, happy days all round. Also on that note, and God, this is just gonna be such a massively epic video. I will say busking is also a really great, it can be a really great income stream for artists too. So I'll tell you my story. This guy that I know called Peter, he had like the whole dready kind of, he does like songs that sound like Pete Murray, guitar singer, you know, kind of edgy sort of street vibe. It just looked perfect for a street musician kind of setup. He would go out into the city into the busy mall. I think he had to buy a license for the government to let him do this. It depends on where you live. Some governments are like stupid, like they are here in Perth, and don't let musicians just play anywhere. Some governments are pretty cool and be like, yeah, share the music, share the vibe. But anyway, and then he would sell his CD, and then he got, you know, cash thrown to him as well. But he would make a killing. So he'd work for like 6 hours straight with breaks. He'd make like 900 Australian dollars a day doing busking, mainly from the CD sales. And he had this thing where it was like, one CD is $15, buy 2 for 20. So everyone will buy 2 for 20 because everyone loves a deal, right? He was killing it. So of course I was friends with him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to make that kind of money. So I tried. I didn't make anything. Well, no, I did. I made some CD sales, and I actually got a few private gigs out of it. And I made some fans who came to some of my proper sort of jazz club shows and stuff, but I was nowhere near as successful as him. And I think it really depends on the type of music that you do. So I had my keyboard, because I'm a keyboard player and a singer, not so much a guitarist, which made the logistics of it harder straight away, because lugging a keyboard is much more, logistically difficult than lugging a guitar. And I just didn't have the street vibe, I'm much more of like a bougie, in the club with champagne, dim lighting and like a gown kind of a performer. That's kind of my thing. So I just didn't translate very well to the street. But it depends on the kind of music you do. You can potentially make a killing, so why not just give it a go? It's free, it's good performance practice. Number 10 is live performance returns. So this is a really small thing that adds up. So every time you do a gig, if it's your own music, you get a little bit of a copyright royalty, kind of like, playing it live kickback. And depending on how many gigs you do during the year and how much you play your own music, it can add up. I usually get about $1,000 a year, depending. It's kind of like when you get your tax return, you get a couple extra. It's like, oh, live performance returns, a couple extra. Ooh, what will I spend that on? Music, yeah. Number 11 is getting a grant. I have been given over 20,000 Australian dollars in government grant money to basically do music stuff. I know. Depending on where you live, like here in Australia, we have a really good government program for artists. So the Department of Culture and the Arts in Western Australia, Perth, which is where I'm from, you do a little application. They've got a certain amount of money each year to give away, so obviously it depends where you live and your government, and you can apply to get some of that cash. So to be honest with you, the whole application process is a royal pain in the ass. Like, it's a real art form, kind of writing this whole grant application, but there actually are people that you can hire who can do it for you if you can't be bothered. But most of us are povo, so we end up doing it ourselves, right? But once you've done it once, it can actually be a lot easier to get it the second time. So the first time I applied, I didn't get it. So the second time I applied, I got it. And this was like the second year. And I got 10,000 Australian dollars to record my first album, Forbidden Moments. Yes, epic. I would not have been able to afford to have done it without that government help. And then the year after that, I got another $10,000 to tour that album around Australia. So I went on tour on the government's cash. It was awesome. Again, probably wouldn't have been able to afford to do that if it wasn't for the grants. We're on the home stretch. We're up to number 12 now, and just a little caveat, these last couple do require you to have a little bit of a following, so an audience, and some music recorded. Number 12 is royalties from streaming. So this is, having your music up on Spotify and people listen to it. Same thing with, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever. TikTok and social media, if you get a bit of people using your stuff, that can add up. Everything from, getting played on the radio to, like, if a cafe plays your song, they have to submit set lists and pay a certain amount of using other people's music fee to your country's copyright association every year. Usually it really is a ridiculously, pathetically small amount, and I'm talking like, I think I got 0.9 cents for like 10,000 streams on Spotify or something like that. I can't remember. I mean, like, a real money in, right? But it does add up. It does. And the more popular you are, the more of these streams you're going to get. Oh, and one other little thing I'll mention on that is that if you have like your songs recorded but they're cover songs, so someone else has written them, then you will only get like 50% of that royalty, because 50% goes to whoever wrote the song, and then you'll get the mechanical rights. So you've got mechanical rights, which is who owns the recording, and the songwriting rights, which is who owns the actual song. Number 13 is getting a sync. Yes, I would absolutely love to get one of these. These could be so lucrative because, okay, let's just say, there's a TV show and they decide to use your music on the TV show. Like, the ultimate sync would be getting like the theme song for Friends. Like, can you say royalties? hello. Yeah, but even if you just get like one song in a movie or something, it can really be lucrative. But you usually need to have like a publicist, like a publishing agent for this, or go through like a publishing house or something like that. And like, I think Ari Herstand, he's really great. If you haven't heard of him, he's got like this epic blog, all things music. And he's got podcasts, and he talks with like a publishing syncing person who tells us in detail why they only go through agents instead of just like independent artists just pitching straight off the bat. So I'll try and find it, and if I can, I'll leave a link below. But you know, I've never gotten one of these, even though I have a publisher. Hello. Like, it's yeah. I don't think it's not something that I've actually actively pursued or manifested. I probably should, because they are quite lucrative. But anyway. Number 14, YouTube advertising revenue. Now, some channels here on YouTube are killing it. I have never killed it, personally, with YouTube ad revenue. It depends on the type of channel you have as well. I think if you're in, the way it works is like if you're in finance, for example, your channel will probably do a lot better in advertising revenue because the amount per like view that the advertisers will pay to get in front of eyeballs is higher for, let's just say, finance than it is for music. Because the product's usually a lot higher priced and it's a much more kind of, I suppose, lucrative industry. Which is why, like, if you're in a personal finance channel here on YouTube, you're probably killing it with ad revenue. I think when this channel was doing really, really well a couple of years ago, I was making 1,000 Australian dollars a month. But that only lasted for like about 3 months, and then it dropped back down to $500 a month. And now I probably only get like a couple of $100 a month, which is about like 120 US dollars a month. So it really isn't much at all. I think it's because, you know, I got bored a couple of years ago and I stopped posting regularly, and YouTube like really punished me. So now I'm trying to build it back up. So, you know, watch the videos, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff might help. And number 15 is brand sponsorships. It's like the holy grail of income streams for artists. So I'm not talking about like doing a YouTube video and being like, this video is sponsored by, what was it, Skillshare. That one gets used all the time. No, I'm talking about like if you get to work with some really cool brands on cool campaign type projects. So they could be lucrative because they're using your face, like they would pay a model or, you know, actor or whatever, right? You get to, like, let's just say it's a clothing brand. So I love this clothing brand called Sass and Bide, which is an Australian brand. Sass and Bide, if you're watching, like, hello. Their clothes just look amazing on me. Just saying. No, it's just, their clothes are just my vibe, you know? And let's just say, you know, I got to a point where like, oh, I had heaps of followers, and Sass and Bide reach out and they go, oh, we love your vibe, we love your style, we love your look. I think, you know, we'd love to do this like new fall collection launch with you. And I'm like, yes. I get to wear the clothes, I get to wear them in the music videos or do a little campaign. They get me and my audience and modeling and all that kind of stuff. Because it's like something that I find really cool and quirky and on brand, it actually gives me publicity because I'm wearing their stuff and they're putting that everywhere. It gives them access to my audience and face and all that kind of stuff. Plus you get like a little bit of, you know, the financial kickback too. And hopefully, if you're lucky, they'll let you keep some of the clothes. That's the kind of brand sponsorship I'm talking about. And so obviously, you know, the bigger you get, the more lucrative it becomes, the better opportunities, the more publicity, yada, 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 snowballs, the opportunities are endless. So, if you got to the end of this video, you are a total legend. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment if you have some other cool income revenue ideas for singers that you want to share with this community. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Please check out all the links that I've put in below. There's a lot of good stuff there. Make sure you subscribe to my official music channel because I need the subscribers. But only if you like jazz. But you know, if you're on this channel, you probably do like jazz. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.